I'm streaming in live. I'm preparing the Facebook live. So I want to allow the Facebook, only join. I'm playing company. Hello, sir.
Yeah. Show me.
Yes, we need to
Can you
play
hear
Connie.
me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Uh, we are ready. I'm playing company. Sir? I'm playing company. On jáde.
Kí ni yẹn?
I'm playing Connie níbẹ̀ on sound. Ẹ ti
Okay,
pa.
àwọn tán. Kí
Àwọn
ni yẹn?
I'm play. Ó dàbí
Ṣé
ìgbà tó gbé I'm
background?
play nǹkan. Sir?
Okay, àwọn tó wà ní the other office náà play
Oh,
music.
okay. Okay.
Ṣó loud ni?
On jáde. Ẹ má worry.
Okay.
Adebowale. Oriku.
Ṣó sì ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀?
No, kò jáde mọ́, kò ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́. We are live now.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. We are live now. Okay, streaming live on Facebook. We are live on Facebook now. I don't know why he has not joined us. Oops, he's just downloading it. Because we want to allow to share from I think I will just with you because okay, he has joined us. Good. Wonderful.
Yes, I've seen him now.
Yes, good. I'm really happy. I think I will start with you, Mr. Dele, Agbeyo. I'll start with you. So I will start the broadcast now. And we are live also on oh good. We have you here. Finally.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you hear us? Hi, good. Can you hear us? Can you say hello so that we can hear your mic? We can hear you.
Hello.
Oriku, Adebowale, we can hear you. Okay, you are connecting your audio. That's fine. Mr. Oriku, ooh, your audio is not connected. We can see you.
Yeah, I can see him.
Yes, your audio.
I can. Yeah.
Check your mic. It is showing connecting audio. Okay, you are connected now. We should be able to see you. From my side, you have connected. Mr. Adebowale. Okay, now it's good. You can mute now. Oh, cool, good. You just unmute. Unmute.
Mute, okay.
Fantastic. Good.
Yeah,
You're live.
I never used Zoom before.
Oh,
So this
okay,
is
okay, good, good. So happy. We are live
Yeah.
on also on
Yes.
Facebook now. So
All right. Okay.
cool, good. So first of all, I would like to welcome you to this edition of okay. Just a minute. I will
Okay.
start the broadcast now. Full. Cool.
All right.
Good. Good. Oh, good. You're broadcasting now. Good.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're welcome once again to another edition of our Gown and Town Connect webinar. This is the ninth in the series of our webinars, and today is going to be it's a special one. Essentially because we have invited two panelists who have been humanists for few years, like as much as decades, 5 decades.
Yeah.
So it's very important we really understand what humanism is. A lot of Nigerians claim to be humanists. A lot do not understand what humanism is. Some even claim, some are even of the opinion that being a humanist has made them to be subjected to all forms of attacks and discriminations. I don't know whether this is true or not. Of course, we're in the age of ICT, and a lot of people could just Google about this.
Okay.
But then, without trying to be trying um, uh, to not doing the right thing by allowing my panelists to talk, I will like to introduce my panelists for today. I have with me Mr. Dele Agbeyo. Dele Danladi Agbeyo from Lagos. Danladi Agbeyo, I want to say hello to our attendees.
Hello. Nice to see. Nice to be here to talk to everybody.
Thanks so much, Dele Agbeyo. Thanks so much. And we have from UK, Adebowale Oriku, who is also a humanist. You want to say hello to our attendees?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to join you guys today to say one or two things about humanism, secularism, and so on. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good. First of all, I would like to appreciate those who are able to join us and those who are joining us on Facebook for this edition of our webinar. Like I said, the essence of this webinar most times is to shed light on some of the obscure issues that we find very interesting in the academia. And one of them, with all due respect to other people who hold different view, is humanism. A lot of academics, those in the ivory towers, are either they call themselves free thinkers, humanists, atheists, bright, and all manner of names, because at the point they've read to the extent of understanding that maybe organized religion is not for them. But then I don't want to jump into the ring because I have the panelists here. And you know how we do it. We allow our panelists to give their views for 10 minutes, and then we take questions from those who are joining us from different parts of the world and also watching us on Facebook and on YouTube to also give their ask one or two questions. So I will start with Dele Danladi Agbeyo. What, in your opinion, exactly is humanism, and how long has do you think humanism has been, organized humanism has been with us in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. Humanism to me is more of an alternative view about our lifestyle. That is alternative to really good, which is the mantra, without God. That is doing good to fellow human beings without expecting reward in afterlife or whatever. So it has to do about humanitarian aspects, our relationship with each other as human beings, and then trying to find solutions to our problems. When you have the coronavirus, you don't go to church looking for a solution, but you look for scientific solution through research and medical research and so on. So humanism, as I've said, is an alternative view about life itself. Thank you.
Okay, so how long have you been a humanist, Mr. Danladi Dele Agbeyo? How long have you been a humanist?
Well, it's about 55 years ago, after I read the Bible again. I went through the Bible when I started hearing about, for the first time, evolution theory.
Can you hear me?
It has helped me in a way. It has given me freedom, and it has set me free from religious bondage. Let me put it. So that is it.
Okay, good. Dele, Adebowale, what about you, humanism?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very broad, you know, when we want to define humanism, because we're humans, first of all, so anything that really concerns us as humans, I mean, in a positive way, usually, that's humanity. But humanism, I mean, it's kind of system, or I would say, like, a lot of stress on humanity. You kind of see the human, the person, the individual, as supreme to any other sort of, I mean, supreme being or anything, and then their well-being, you put that, on the front burner of your mind. That's what you kind of do, So humanism is more about, how you make the human better, how you, through charity, doing good things and, stuff like that, medicine, all those things, it's all about humanity, concentrate on the human. Very simple. And actually, it's not only those who don't believe in God who are humanists. You can have humanist Christians or Muslims, those who, although they might believe in God, they might worship God, but they also see, the list of their brother, their sister, their neighbors, their friends, and relatives as, sort of important in their lives, and they act accordingly. They don't say, okay, well, probably if you don't believe in God, then you are going to hell or things like that. No, they see the person first. They don't see the religion which sort of attaches to them. They see the person. So if, for instance, I mean, let me put it this way, because people always think, oh, it's only atheists or agnostics or, who are humanists. No, it's a broad, sort of broad brush thing for anyone who places, the well-being of humanity, of humans, in the front. Yeah. So, but in my own case, I don't really believe in any supreme God at all. I, for as long as I can even recall, it's not something that I really ever believed in. Even when I was young, I was growing up within the Nigerian state where things, well, of course, people used to go to church too and everything, but it's not as it is today, and everyone believes one way or the other. Muslims, Christians, and at the time, particularly in the 70s, you still had those who had these traditional beliefs, and they were very proud, to come out and say, okay, well, please, Ogun, Shango, or whatever. And no one was really ashamed of it. But at the time, even then, I started to think, well, was there really anything out there that's really sort of guiding us, or a good God, omnipotent, omnipresent, or whatever? I started to question things right from, probably when I was in primary school. Yeah, and there was a specific occasion when I think I was in year 3 in primary school. There was this neighbor, a young boy. I was about, let's say I was 8. This young boy was about 6. So he was walking right in front. We're coming back from school, primary school. He was walking right in front of me, and he crossed the road. That was in Nigeria. So he crossed the road. He was crossing this car, speeding, and just killed this young innocent boy. And that really had a profound effect on me. I thought, wow, so this young chap just go like that, because I didn't understand death very well, but I knew that, the way people were responding and everything, that this little boy would never return to us. He was taken somewhere, buried. And so I thought, well, if there was a God, a true God, a good God, he wouldn't take away such a young, vibrant, happy boy. So from that, and you could see the strain of humanism in that too, because what concentrated my mind then was not really God, or whether the little boy is going to any sort of heaven or hell or limbo, where children go before, according to the Catholics, anyway. But I thought, look, this boy shouldn't, his parents, I could see the pain, the distress, the way they were responding, crying for. So that really had an impact on me. So since then, I started to kind of grow out of religion, slowly until I was in my teens, and I just said, no, this is just nonsense, yeah, and that's it.
How long have you been in humanism?
You see, that's what I'm saying. It's a sort of fluid thing. It's not.
If you want to put it within a time frame,
Yeah.
because Dele Agbeyo said he has been a humanist for 55 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
you,
don't
if you
think.
want to put it in a
Yeah.
time frame, like how many decades, or how many months, how many years, how many weeks?
That's seems like being so. Let's say 40 years. You know, I mean, because I was in my teens. You know, when all these things just started to. I used to question a lot of things. You know, silently, because you couldn't just come out and say, oh, is there God? I couldn't ask. Although I grew up in a relatively sort of liberal, home where um, my parents were not so, they were religious, my mom, dad, but they sort of gave us sort of freedom, latitude to
Mm.
think freely. And so I sort of transitioned into humanism. Um, so I can't really I can't put it in the sort of box and say, okay, this between this year and no, I can't say that. But I would say that probably when I was in my late teens, yeah, I just grew out of, you know.
Okay, let's go back to Dele Agbeyo. Dele Agbeyo, um, Adebowale is trying to tell us how he came into humanism, how he became a humanist. Can you tell us how you moved into humanism and what the experience was in terms of acceptance by those around you? You know, your idea of humanism is a bit atheistic, and how does it feel? How does people around you? How do people around you? What kind of acceptance? What kind of acceptance or rejection do you have, and how do you manage it? Dele Agbeyo.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, one thing I did not tell you was how I really made the transition. What happened was when I left Comprehensive High School Ayeto in 1966. That was where I knew about evolution. I've never heard of evolution throughout my secondary school days. I was, in fact, the president of Scripture Union in my secondary school days. We used to go out and evangelize and so on. But one day somebody said, God does not exist. And I thought, this guy is going to die. The angel will just come from heaven and give him a dirty slap and so on. Then when I got to Ayetoro Comprehensive High School, there were students from government college, from Loyola College, so many top institutions. And they were talking about evolution theory. I said, could it be true? I started asking myself. Then one lecturer now gave a lecture to all of us on evolution. So I said, so evolution is it's not just a rumor, it's something that is taught in school. That means there must be something special about it. Luckily, Ayetoro, because it was founded by the American government, sort of, Ford Foundation. So we had a good library, stocked with books on evolution, on religion, on so many things. So I just managed to get there, bury my head, and started reading. I read about other religion, about Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and so on. Then I started to try to put this together that maybe religion indeed is man-made. It's not something that came from heaven or whatever. Then again, when I started working in 1967, we had this American.
No. Wait, hold on, Dele. Before you started working, you decided to
Yeah.
become a humanist, and then all of a sudden, people around you, what was it like? Trying to ask them, tell them that what you are believing, what they've been doing, Jesus, this is some of this exclamation about God, that doesn't make sense. How did they feel? And what was the acceptance?
My friends, I think the first connection I had was with my friends. But I was lucky with my parents, they didn't mind. They thought I was just joking or trying to be funny or whatever. So they didn't take it serious. But my friends, when they saw that I stopped going to church or pray, you know, they started asking questions. And I was trying to tell them, this is my view. This is why I don't want to go to church again. I don't believe God exists as it in the Bible. And when I read about the universe, the planets, there's a planet called Jupiter, which is 1,000 times the size of the Earth, and there's no living thing there. So why would God create such a planet without putting human beings there? Then telling me that the moon is a light. It's not, it's just a reflection of light. Or rain comes from heaven. No, it is evaporation, then precipitation, then it falls, So then thunder, what is thunder? Is it when God is annoyed? I know that it's friction, between the clouds that create thunder and so on. Rainbow is not what they wrote in the Bible. The rainbow is just dispersal of light by raindrops. That's all. And you can create it artificially in the laboratory, or even if you put water in your mouth and you screw it, you see rainbow form. So it's a natural occurrence. So, but my friends thought, well, I would get over it, that God would take control and things like that. So I didn't have much problem with people until I came to Lagos and started interacting with people.
Then you started having issues with some
Yeah,
people.
another thing that helped me was when I was abroad.
Okay.
All the engineers I worked with were unbelievers, so I felt at home there. And I discovered that most of the churches are abandoned. So I said, what are we doing in Africa? These people have forgotten about religion, and we are now patronizing religion that is dead.
Oh, okay. Dele, I will come back to you. Adebowale, the Bible says a fool says in his heart that there is no God. Is there any point in this your sojourn in humanism that someone confronted you and say, "Oh man, you don't believe in God, you are a fool"?
Of course, there have been, occasions like that. But I tend not to sort of look down on those who believe. Whatever they believe in, God, Jesus, Muhammad, or whatever. I tend not to look down there. I just think, in a way, they've been conditioned, by society, by their parents. The way genes are passed down from parents to to the offspring. That's the same way that is, this thing that they call memes today, internet memes. Actually, it's a scientific term. In a way, I mean, I wouldn't say fully scientific, but it's sort of modern sort of science. But it means that attitudes, behavior, sort of quirks that are passed down from parents to their children, or beliefs too. And when people come to you and say, "Oh, they are Christians, they are this," I know. Well, it's not their fault actually. It's what has been handed down to them by their fathers, grandfathers, or whatever. And um, the only sad thing about our own case in Africa is that we have sort of done away with the traditional African. I'll come back to your question, but I just want to sort of
It's okay.
deviate
It's
a bit
okay.
from
It's
that.
allowed. No problem.
We've sort of deviated from the traditional African mores, religions, systems of belief, and so on. And what we're just carrying around as if is our kind of inheritance, or today is this Christianity and Islam, as if it's been coming for thousands, or it's been amongst Africans for thousands of years. No, this is just probably 170 or thereabouts old. That is Christianity and Islam, slightly older. They came to conquer and everything. And to just go around quoting this book that was imposed on us by our oppressors and those who came to colonize us and suppress us and make us sort of dehumanize us totally. When they came, they saw us as savages and subhumans. And I find it unfortunate when people take this book they brought to us and they imposed on us, and quoting from it, to sort of uh, to slate their fellow Africans, say, oh, well, God, which God? I mean, let's even say there is any sort of God anyway. I was dipping into, was it not the Bible? Because sometimes I still sort of look into it and try to read the ridiculous verses and chapters there, because some of them are clearly so ridiculous that you would laugh aloud loud and say, what's going on? I read some of these names like Habakkuk, this, that. I mean, these African. I mean, what has this got to do with you? We are Yoruba. I mean, this is a traditional historical book for Jews. I mean, that's nothing to do with us, you know, in Yoruba land. You understand? So, yeah, they can come to me and quote. I just shook my head and said, well, just go on your way, because it's to say that is slightly, I don't want to say idiotic, but say that if you don't be, anyone who says there's no God is a fool or whatever. It's unfortunate. I mean, and like that was a decision I made after I had come out of complete religion, everything. Because in my own case, I have this sort of blanket. I don't want to say it, but sort of blanket aversion towards religion in general, any religion at all. I just don't like. I'm completely irreligious, So I tend to, when people say, "Oh, you atheists or you agnostics, you always criticize Christianity. You are scared of, saying anything about Islam." I don't care. I say anything about Muslims, Buddhists, or whatever, in the same way that criticize, Christians. Although, the humane part of me, the humanist in me, I still allow for a kind of, I give allowance for, people to believe in whatever they want to believe. If you think your Jesus is good for you, I'm utilitarian in that sense. I kind of say, well, if it's good for you, and you personally can say that this is what it. I would say it because I really don't know this Jesus, whether it really existed or not. What that Jesus did or does for you, yeah. If you think in your own mind, you can connect your achievements or things, yeah. That's good for you. I won't really sit down and say no. That's your own problem. But what I don't stand for, what I have never stood for, is someone say, oh, because I don't believe, probably, hell or something. I find it ridiculous. I don't even say anything much. Before, maybe about 30 years ago, I used to kind of have arguments. I was young. I was much, 20s, full of spirit and everything. But these days, I say, okay, that's what you think. Yeah, fair enough. And there was a time I made a decision that, I mean, it's sort of absolutist. I said, anybody who comes to me and tells me the story of Adam and Eve or whatever, I would not say a word to them at all. Because, I mean, there is no obscurantism. I mean, that is to say, lack, this sort of darkness, sort of benighted way of thinking, so bad, so worse than somebody in the 21st century, believing that myth, that mythical story of, Adam and Eve, that is true, that is something they can quote, I mean, theologians in the Western world, they've, all of them, I mean, although they still kind of have this sort of circumscribed belief in God, but they know generally that the story of Adam and Eve is not true. It's a creation myth, that every society has. We Yoruba, we have our own, this Ududua, whatever, Lamuruju, all these sort of,
yes.
So I just said, no, if you come to me and talking about Adam and Eve story, I will first ask you, when did it happen? A lot of them don't even know that, when you sort of, calculate this thing with algorithm of, of time and everything, it's spatiotemporal, sort of calculation. It is about 6,000 years ago that this we have a new story, just 6,000 years ago. But the universe, this the galaxy that we are in, has been existing for about 15 billion years. How do you reconcile it with this simplistic story in the Bible that says, there was this person created in the Middle East? It's ridiculous. So if anybody comes to me and talk about being foolish for not believing in his God or her God or their God, I'll just shrug and say, well, let's see who. Nobody's going to prove to us who is wiser in the long run, because they will think they are going to heaven anyway, and that's enough for them. I'll just let them go on their way, and that's
okay.
cool.
Good.
That's it.
But I'll go into you are also an author, and you've written a couple of books. Yeah. But before I go into the books, let's look at religion in our everyday life in comparison with humanism. I mean, a lot of people believe that the religion we are talking about today has been commercialized. And in fact, that a lot has gone out of religion. The values, the morality. In fact, one of the blunders a colleague will always tell me about is morality, religion without morality, which we seem to practice now. What, in your opinion, do you think humanism can contribute in place of religion in ensuring that our society is better organized?
Like what I said when I started, that humanism is, I don't want to be so narrow about, the definition of humanism. I don't want to sort of put it in a sort of atheist or anti-theist sort of box and say, well, we are privileged as atheists or, agnostics or whatever to be humanists, and others are not. The Christians can be humanists. But what look, the Nigerian thing for me is a very, very complex and difficult case, because we have taken religiosity, that is to say, extreme sort of attitude towards God, or the sort of extremism, I will put it that way, without any apology. So it has got to a stage now that, to be honest, I don't want to be too pessimistic, but I guess I will be, because I don't really, I'm sorry, I don't really see how this stage we are, that we can easily post it. I don't know, maybe about a century from now or thereabouts, things might change. But I discussed with Mr. Agbeyo last night. We called me and we chatted. We said something about, as it is now, Christianity has been sort of infused, it has become embedded in the tradition, so much so that even the Yoruba or Igbo person would even think that they own it. They say, oh, this is our thing. We appropriate it. The white people brought it. It's our own now. For people thinking like that, to be honest, I don't see how we can sort of bring humanist ethos. That is, particularly when it goes with atheism or something. It can't really work. So what can work, may work rather, is probably if we can sort of inject humanism into, people's beliefs, like Christianity, Islam. If they can say, okay, charity, all these sort of things. But then, knowing the state that Nigeria is in today, all this sort of corruption and so on, I don't see how you can really put that into play easily. Humanism, religious humanism, Christian humanism or Islamic humanism, all these sort of things. I really can't see how, it will work. We have been we live in a mercenary society over there.
Please, Adebowale, let me take this question. Maybe I should take it from another perspective. There are certain values that are taken to be humanistic. Number one, ability to ask questions.
Yeah.
Number two, secularism. Humanism promotes secularism. Also try to be humane, and also try to. There are certain values that I think humanism can promote. Do you think that, I mean, I essentially think we are lacking in that.
Yeah.
People are going after crass wealth without talking about morality anymore. People rather
accountability.
Yes, I mean it's gone totally.
Gone.
And each time
Completely.
I think about this, I'm worried because if you ask me if I want to be a multimillionaire, I will tell you you are disturbing yourself. I am not going to be. Why? I know how much I earn as a university professor, and I don't know if you pray for me that I'm going to buy a 20 million house. I say you are a bastard. How will I have such a money? I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I'm giving grant, I'm giving grant to do a research, not to build a house or to. You know, so now I'm asking, don't you think that if you can inculcate some of this humanistic temperament from secondary school, what I call humanist education, do you think it could go a long way to assist our society in facing in being realistic about our future?
Oh, certainly you can. You know, there's this phrase, catch them young. Yeah, it can really work. You know, in France, for instance, they teach philosophy to primary school students, you know, pupils. And in secondary school too, they teach them philosophy, you know, sociology, which is your own Dele week. So they teach them, you know, those things. They let them know. I mean, though not in a very complex way that you have philosophy, you know, but at least they begin about ethics, you know, metaphysics, you know, epistemology and all these sort of things in a very simple way, not simplistic, but simple way that, you know, and they set out questions for them in logic. That, for instance, if this thing, such a thing happens, what will you do? Or how will you kind of get into this situation and bring yourself out and everything? If we, well, to be honest, that won't even be easy because I understand that today that history, just even history, simple history, liberal arts like that, it's not even in and you know, humane subject too, history, you know, humane, you know, academic subject that has been taken out of a lot of Nigerian.
No, it's been returned. It's been returned.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that if they are scared of history, our own, okay, if you don't want to go into all this Mongo Park sort of discovering Nigeria nonsense, what about our own history and so on? Now, if they are so scared of history, or you know, thing. So and another thing is that they should make in the curriculum or curricula for primary, secondary, and they should make religious studies, RS, or what do they call it in Nigeria? Religious, you know, studies.
Religious education. Christian religious education, Islamic religious education.
Yeah.
Without any other option. No other option. You only do Christian, Islamic, and others. No others.
Well, you know, what about a traditional sort of belief in it? Although, like I said, I don't really have any sort of belief in religion at all, even including, I would say, to the extent that I don't even believe in, or like Shoyinka, who always talks about Ogun and all these sort of things. I have no, you know, no truck at all with religion at all, you know, traditional, foreign, anything, because I've discovered that, to be honest, it just doesn't make any sense, particularly after the Industrial Revolution in England, you know, the 19th century and everything. You know, it sort of made this thing totally irrelevant. But unfortunately for us, you know, the irony is that the paradox is that religion was brought to us in the mid 1850s or thereabouts when they came to with CMS in Abeokuta. Now they came. That was the peak. That was when Industrial Revolution was reaching its peak in England, in the United Kingdom in general. And that was the time they were importing this sort of this backward-looking thing that is called Christianity to us. Where you have people like Samuel Ajayi Crowther, translating the English Bible to Yoruba and everything. So in a way, we've been shortchanged in a lot of ways. We are in a sort of time warp. You know, I mean, in physics, people talk about time warp and everything. We are in a time warp. The time warp is that, you know, the whole world is moving on fast, fast and furious, you know, growing at a very fast pace. You know, I mean, more than supersonic. Supersonic is in the 1960s, you know, far, far, far. And we are not even, you know, we are not even, I don't know, you know, this 1950s Mami wagon or whatever. That's what we're still going, you know, through. Anyway, I will yield. I will yield now to
Dele Agbeyo. Can you please unmute? Unmute from your end. We can't hear you because you have muted your microphone. Unmute. Oh, good. We still have not unmuted. Okay, let me ask you to unmute.
Okay.
Oh,
is that
cool.
right?
Yes, good. We can hear you now. We can hear you. Okay. Maybe your network was off.
Failure. I had power failure.
Oh, okay. It's okay. We are in Nigeria. It's okay.
Yeah.
Now, while you were off here, there was a question that Adebowale was trying to answer. I asked him that religion, that humanism seems to have some values that can be, exploited for our societal growth and development. And I said one of them is the spirit to ask questions, you know, critical mind to ask questions. You know, another one is secularism. And I said another one, you know, is believe in science among the humanists. And I said, what way can we inculcate this into the younger Africans or Nigerians in a way that is going to be beneficial to our society? That's the question, sir.
Okay. Yeah. What I think we should do is the belief in Catholicism. That's why the Catholics say, give me a child before the age of 7 and I will make him a Catholic forever. So this is the time to really let them know that there are alternative views than one old man in the sky writing your names, anything you do, he rises and so on. And then exposing them to science. What is science? That is about knowledge, and then telling them how man developed religion because of fear of the unknown, fear of after dying. That is when you die, you still have the hope that you will still see your grandfather somewhere else, in another place, in another time. You know, so you try to win them away from such beliefs, you know. And I think it is the students now in secondary schools that should be exposed, because the books, the type of education we have in Nigeria teaches you what to think, not how to think. I think there should be emphasis on how to think, not what to think. And let them know that all the countries like China, Japan, that have made it, they made it through science and technology, not through prayers. That prayers is an old, forgotten, belongs to the...
But they will tell you that Christianity and Islam is not against science. What do you think about this? Is there any way that religiosity is affecting the growth of science and technology? Dele?
Yeah.
How?
Whether, come again.
Is there any way religion is affecting the growth of science and technology?
Of course, yes. You know, during the Dark Ages, the Roman Catholic destroyed all the books that they gained from the Greek philosophy. They burnt them, and it was during the Renaissance that they started bringing these books out and translating them from Arab to European languages, because luckily the Arab world kept the Greek civilization on, you know, all the gains about science, about philosophy. They kept it during the Dark Ages. So when Renaissance came, because people had to go back, that's why they call it Renaissance, that is reawakening, after the Dark Ages. So, and it is this reawakening that gave back to the age of reason, when people started traveling overseas, going on expedition and discovering that there are other societies, there are other religions, that Christianity is not the only religion, and so on and so forth. And that gave back to the Industrial Revolution and the Internet of Things, the globalization.
Okay.
So
One of our attendees is asking you, is saying I should ask you a question that going by what you have highlighted, what is your take on heaven and hell? Since both Quran and the Bible, and including the traditional religion, is talking about heaven. What is your view about heaven and hell? I'm coming back to you, Adebowale. We'll talk about your books. But first, Dele, what is your take on heaven and hell? Let's attend to look more.
I would like to let them know that about space exploration, how it started with Galileo, when he used the microscope to look into the night sky and saw that there are other worlds beside our own, and there are other moons beside our own. So from there, people now know that we are not alone. We are not special, that the earth is not special. It's just another star, another planet moving around the sun. And so that is how the cosmology developed. People now started finding ways to know where are we, where do we come from, where are we going. Then they made bigger telescopes, and they were able to discover that there are other planets. Not that alone, there are other galaxies beside our own that has solar systems again. So we are talking of billions of stars like our own. So there's nothing special about our own. Even if the Earth and the planets disappear today, the universe will not be aware, because we are infinitesimal, we are unimportant, we are nothing. So you have to let them know all this, the discoveries, scientific discoveries. Then to let them know that the one in the Bible is just written by some primitive, prehistoric people. That's the knowledge they know. When they look into the sky, that's their interpretation. But now science has allowed us to have a better interpretation, and this is it. So from there, you keep them thinking away from the religious aspect. That's
Okay, Adebowale, I come to you now. First, I want you to answer Lukman's question about heaven and hell, and then we'll talk about questions. I hope you have some copies of your books there. Then we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Okay, the heaven and hell thing. You see, this is part of the doctrinal, you know, what imposition.
Doctrination process.
Imposture, I would say, because I don't want to use anything too positive, at all positive at all for the heaven and hell thing. I mean, this is one of the tools, that were deployed by, particularly those who came, like I said, to colonize a lot of big spaces of Africa and the people. This is one of the things they used, to sort of enslave and capture their imagination and say, okay, look, there's this place where, if you believe in our sweet Jesus, you go there and uh, you go to heaven and enjoy for the rest of your life. Or the Islamic sense too, where they said there are 72 virgins, waiting for. I mean, come on. How will anybody believe such fantasy? But then they do for some reason, and that belief, particularly the Islamic one, has led to a lot of carnage, a lot of bloodbath, a lot of you know terrorist atrocities all over the place. So the heaven and hell or whatever they call it. It's part of, it's just a doctrine, Abrahamic religious doctrine that doesn't make any sense at all. If they even take a bit of time to explore and say, oh, okay, this heaven and hell thing, where is it? Like Dele was saying, we are in a vast universe, endless, multiverse, not even universe this time, multiverse. So where is this? Okay, for instance, like my little son, he was 10 then, was asking me, so where? Because they don't believe anyway, they have this sort of free thinking attitude too, like that. So where would God be, even if there is? I said, well, you can see yourself that it can really not be anywhere. So the idea of heaven and hell is ridiculous. If anybody asks you, I think the best question, the answer is to give, if they can explain to me where in the space or spaces around where you can find where you think it would be, then probably you make some headway with them. But I think it's better to just say, well, both don't exist at all. That's what I would say. That they are just pure fantasy, figment of imagination. Primitive desert living, ancient people that just wrote these books and say, okay, that's another thing that really kind of gets me. I mean, gets my goat. That in the 21st century, 3,000, 4,000, 2,000 more years after these books, not only the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, after these books have been written, people still quote them. They still want you to take this thing as an article of faith that you should. I mean, it's ridiculous. Society has, every society, not even, they have moved on so much so that if you know the gap between where we are in Africa now and where, I mean, for instance, Scandinavia up there, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. It's beyond tragedy. Honestly, it is far. I don't even know how to describe it. I remember I went to because I've been around a lot anyway. What's this country? Besides Germany, there, just excuse me now. No, Liechtenstein. I remember. Anyway, I went to this small sort of, it's called principality, because in Nigeria they will say principality is evil, devil. But a principality is a place where you have a prince as the head of state, as the ruler there. I mean, this is earthly prince, not the sort of devilish prince they are talking about. So we went to, sorry. We went to this country, because it just escapes me now, because I've been in so many of them. And because I can't really go, okay, let me not go into that, because, I can't be describing where I've forgotten the name anyway. So just to come back, you just tell them that whatever heaven or hell that you want to experience is here on this earth, in this world. Anybody that asks me that, if you go, whatever you go through here, by the time you die, they put you wherever, if you're lucky and you're able to be buried or cremated, or, if your body is found or not found, whatever, if you're dead, that's the end of it. That is it. Finished. Nothing again.
Let me interject. I once met a young man who was visiting Europe for the first time, and shared experience with me, and then both of us concluded that if there is hell at all, that it was coming from hell, and where he is seems to be heaven. Danladi Dele Agbeyo. One of our viewers on Facebook Live just asked a question about the concept of Omoluabi, that although that is in Yoruba philosophy, that you might not believe in religion, organized religion. What is your take on the concept of Omoluabi and how that can help in the promotion of the ideal of morality?
Well, when we talk of Omoluabi, it is a concept which is to help, when a child is growing up, you want to sort of guide him, about life, about how to live, about how to respect your elders, and how to obey instructors. And
Is that in tandem with humanism, sir?
yes, it is, because it's devoid of religion. It's not saying Omoluwa or Omo Olorun, it's Omoluabi, which is a concept that is devoid of religion, secular. It applies to anybody, everybody.
Mm, okay. Um, Now, let's go to your books, Adebowale. Then I'll come back to Dele
Yeah.
Agbeyo. Yeah,
Okay.
you have written a couple of books. What essentially are some of them? Are they on humanism?
Well, so before I answer that, let me quickly, touch on the country. Yeah, Luxembourg. Yeah, because it just flew away.
Luxembourg. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the thing is, I went there. Was a couple of years ago. With my family. Yeah, I'm a very small country, and when you get there, if you see the space the country is, how fabulous it is, how beautiful, how like parad like paradise in the Christian sense, everything clean, everything works well, shiny. Ah, And I remember, I visited Nigeria last year. I was telling my friends, I said, when people talk about heaven or whatever, something that really came to my mind when I went to Luxembourg, it was this is heaven. Honestly, believe me, it's a fantastic place. I mean, I'm not advertising for the
The
tourism.
country, the tourism board of the
So,
country.
that's what I'm saying. So, I think probably our um, what is called epistemic sort of modality in the place that we are there. We see very, very ugly things around, very wretched things around, very, tragic and sad and dusty and everything. And so we believe that there is a kind of heaven somewhere where you may have gone through a lot, you may have suffered here in Nigeria, whatever. Maybe there's a place that you go to relax and flowers and, oh, that sort of heaven that you kind of imagine in your head actually is here on earth. Yeah. So so yeah, I've written a book. I'm working on another one now. The Schopenhauer's child, you know, um, as for Schopenhauer, I don't know whether you know the title. Okay, you see,
Yeah,
yeah,
super.
yeah, yeah. That German philosopher. No, the book's not about him, but I had just to use the name because it's one of the philosophers that I really sort of admire a lot. It's theory. I don't want to go into philosophy at all because that would be so complex and but he was a skeptic. He didn't believe in God either. I mean, which sort of qualified him very, very much for my admiration. So, and he was, apart from being a skeptic, he was cynical too. He was a cynic because cynicism about people's intentions, like, okay, like we are talking about heaven and hell. He was cynical about, for instance, Christians overlords, bringing that theory, that doctrine to people because they want to deceive them. They don't allow people their willpower to express themselves. So Schopenhauer tries to capture that sort of in the way that Nietzsche would do, later to say, okay, well, you have your own destiny in your own hands, whatever happens. So that is where, because I've read a few, of his works. But what's really inspired me to write a book, um, I lost my sister in Nigeria in 2010. My younger sister was 40 then. It would have been, she would have, if she was 40, she would have been, 50 this year now, my younger sister. So when I lost her, I mean, quite younger than me, I started to think because before then there were maybe events too that I experienced. So I thought, well, let me just put something down. I mean, because the book I had wanted to write this sort of book of that will encompass philosophy, um, my state of mind, how it's been for a few decades and everything. So I just said, okay, let me. Yeah. So the book is sort of autobiographical, because I write about myself there. I also write about my siblings, my family, and everything from a sort of philosophical angle, and I try to plot my sort of transition from not belief because I really never believed, my transition into non-belief, into total religiosity. So it's a kind of it's a philosophy that deals with metaphysics, not in a mysterious or sort of way that would say, oh, there's something hidden about juju or whatever. No, that deal with life as it is, as you can see it, you can grasp it. You lost someone. I was sad to have lost my sister, but I tried to philosophize on it. What happened? How is life the way it is? Yeah, it's a book of philosophy, but from very personal angle, because this sort of books now, we have a lot of them here, where you are sort of in life writing, because it's called life writing. You take your personal story and you spin it out, you develop it into a broader sort of universe where you can explore anything, anything you want to explore. But in my own case, what I've done there is to explore religion or irreligion, philosophy, and what is called archaeology. That is to say the opposite of theology, archaeology. So that's what I've done in the book. But the thing is, probably when Esther comes to Nigeria, I will bring a copy to you, so at least you'll be able to ask me.
We're going to have a section with a critical review of it.
Yeah. So you'll be able to open it and go to a page and say, okay, what have I written? Yeah. So yeah, that's about that. It's just about life, in general. Yeah.
Good. Let's go back to Dele.
Okay.
No, let's go to Dele. Dele, let's look at that link between being a humanist and your rights as a Nigerian. Has there been a situation where you have been discriminated against for the fact that you are a humanist? I know Adebowale is based abroad. You once lived abroad and you came back to Nigeria. Is there been a situation or probably stories you've had of people who claim to be a humanist were denied of a job, people who claim to be humanists and were sacked, or you've been harassed for being a humanist? Has anyone ever violated your right on the basis of you being a humanist before or atheist?
Well, in Nigeria, at least, I'm a businessman. I'm into language laboratories. We deal with universities, polytechnics, colleges of education. And it has never occurred, it has never happened where they question whether I'm an atheist or I'm a humanist or whatever, or whether I'm a Muslim. I've been lucky in that regard. Even some of our clients are some of these faith-based institutions, in Nigeria. Most of the tertiary institutions, private, are owned by Christian churches or Muslims, whatever. So, but as at now, we've never encountered such. But there are discriminations, yes. I know of a time I went to Abuja and I was discussing with a friend on evolution. And I just mentioned in passing that evolution is trying to say there's no need for God, that God is not necessary in life on earth, And a Hausa guy was just passing by and he turned back and he said, if I hear you, he pointed to me, said, if I hear you repeat that word, that God does not exist, I will kill you and I will kill myself. Of course, I kept quiet, you know. Not confrontational, you know. In the South, I can say whatever and I can get away with it. But in the North, I have to be careful. Yeah. So in doing my business, I've never encountered such. I'm lucky too that my parents, they don't care much about it. They know that I'm not, I've never been to prison, never been to police station. So they are at peace with me and I'm at peace with them. But I still go to, if you invite me to the church, I will go, but I will not be dancing and I will not be kneeling down to pray to one white Jesus or whatever. I won't do that. But I listen and
Okay, okay. Let me go to Adebowale. You are in Nigeria, of course, although you live in diaspora. You've been home several times. Have you had stories or have you ever been involved in any form of discrimination?
No. You know something? I think, you know, what Dele just said, I mean, sort of is quite relevant too. Because, you know, the Yorubas, or the Yoruba, I don't like to use that S thing. I mean, it's quite, you know, we Yoruba, we have this sort of culture that, I see, what how did they say that in Yoruba? Whatever. You know, it's like, we are so free-minded that, you know, no, not that one, that you can have a Muslim as your neighbor, you know, you are Christian, the best house or adjacent house to be Ogun worshipper, you know, yeah, it's sort of this religious freedom that normally traditional to Yoruba people, you know, even that really predates this importation of Abrahamic religion. That, you know, you have the Ogun worshipper, the Shango, the Obatala people, you know, they coexisted, they cohabited within the society. I never, you know, before these people came with their sort of, you know, this internecine religion that they brought to us that caused a lot of strife amongst us. I never read, or I never knew, or nobody ever told me the story about how, you know, those who believed in Ogun, for instance, were fighting or killing those. You understand? They coexisted. Then, you know.
Let me sing this song that just came to my mind. Yeah. Maybe it will portray what they're saying. Why grow up? There is this popular song is Awa Oshoro Ile Wa O. Awa Oshoro Ile Wa O. Ẹ̀sìnkan ò pé Oye ẹ̀sìnkan ò pé káwa má ṣòro. Yes.
That's exactly what you understand. So that is it's not just ordinary song. It's the culture. That's the Yoruba tradition. That we were free. So in a way, I didn't, when I was growing up and, you know, coming out of religion slowly, like I said, I used to talk. Nobody said, oh, nobody. Although they would tell me, oh, maybe in about 20 years time or 15 years time, I will become a pastor or something like that. You know, in a sort of, but I would tell them, no, that's never going to happen. I mean, people started telling me that I've become a pastor about 40 years ago anyway. You know, they will say, oh, don't worry. When you turn around, when you become born again, you know, I mean, it's never going to happen. You know, I'm going towards 60 now, so it's never going to happen. Anyway, so I never experienced such sort of, you know, adversarial sort of thing at all in Nigeria. But I worked in the Gambia for a couple of years, about 3 years or so. I was with the Observer there. Staff writer. I was also the art culture editor for the Daily Observer there. And, you know, I was writing a lot of these articles, atheistic articles, you know, humanistic articles, very. People were asking, what are you? I said, well, I'm a free thinker. I'll tell them that. So it was sort of free thinking articles, essays, a lot. And there was a specific word that I wrote in a very ironic sense. God is an African. Um, I was trying to ridicule this sort of overmuch belief in God and everything. So I wrote the article slating this sort of too much religiosity and everything. I mean, because the Gambia was, I mean, still is about 90 something percent Islamic. And I almost got into trouble. The managing director of the newspaper was furious. He said I was the very devil. I said I was devil himself. I'm talking about 1999 or so. He says I was the devil himself. It was kind of it was. I mean, it was serious. But I think that was probably the only time that I was really confronted. And challenged seriously about my lack of belief in the Abrahamic religion. That was the only time.
Okay, okay.
In Africa.
Oh, okay, okay. It's been a while that this hashtag Free Mubarak Bala has been going on, and both of you are conversant with the global organized humanism. Unfortunately, the young man I invited to join us to discuss Free Mubarak Bala, that is Bacham Bai from Kaduna, declined a few hours to the webinar. He said on personal ground.
Okay.
Which is, of course, we understand that, as we can do that on personal ground. Is your right. But then, Dele, are you aware, and also Adebowale, are you aware about the travail of this young man called Bala Mubarak, who is the president of Nigerian Humanists Association, formerly called the Nigerian Humanist Movement? Dele, are you aware?
Yes, I read about it on the platform that is Humanist International platform, and that was my very first time. But when they wanted to get a lawyer, I told them they should deal directly with that organization in the north, because it's easier for them to get a lawyer than somebody in Lagos, and you have this restriction of movement and so on, that any fund at all should be made available to the members in the north, who are right there, and who can be sending us information about its whereabouts. But one thing I always say is that the North is not as broad-minded as my Adebowale said. In the North, religion is still very, very, very powerful there. And so when you want to talk, you know what to say and you know where to say it. We have to be careful because we are an endangered species. That is, we are very small, and if they see us as troublemakers, then we become a target.
Yeah.
But we have to be friendly. Like the Yorubas would say, if you want to catch a monkey, you behave like a monkey. So you take it easy. You let them know, like for example, I give lectures on evolution, but I don't tell them that there's no God. But from my lecture, they will conclude in their own head whether there's God or there's no God. In a way, you do it in a subtle way. You don't just give it to them straight away. So I feel I'm sorry what happened to the young man, and I hope he gets caught, then getting freed. I don't think Nigerians were demonic as we are being portrayed, but I believe that common sense will prevail and they will probably release him. I have never seen anybody being killed or in prison because of religion yet in the country. And I know this will not be an exception. That's my take.
Okay. Adebowale, the arrest and detain of Mubarak Bala, is it not an indication? Is that not an indication that there is a suppression or a kind of interest against the idea of humanism in Nigeria. Is that an
Oh,
indication?
yeah. I mean, very serious one for that matter. From my understanding, I think he is he's not the president of
Is the
the
president?
Nigerian.
Yes.
Okay, you know, I mean, because I had to go and I heard when they arrested him and everything. I listened, I had it on the news here. It's all over the place, which is also good because the exposure that the unfortunate arrest and detention that has garnered is good for him because now I think it will be difficult for them to just say, okay, we're going to hang this guy or to stone him to death by Sharia or something because I listened. It was on BBC, on Al Jazeera, all these French TV, France 24. So yeah, there is this awareness now that this guy is in detention, and I mean the sad thing about the whole situation is you know constitutionally Nigeria is a secular country. Um, that has not changed because I remember when they were drafting the 1979 Constitution um, during the Constitutional Assembly thing. One of the things that was, I was concerned about, I was young, was that they retained the the secularity of the Nigerian state, and they did in the Constitution. So I think the 1999 Constitution too will have that provision there. Um, so, even this arrest is legal. Honestly, I mean, it's illegal. I mean, it's not. There's no sort of due process that really informs the arrest of Bala at all, because unless this doesn't go to court, or maybe they killed him or whatever, I don't know. Hopefully not. I hope not. Before, but if this goes to court, they haven't got any case at all. Like I said, and I believe it is this so unless they've done a bit of tweaking. They've tweaked the constitution to make it okay. Well, it's not even possible. Nigeria will remain a secular state because they have this sort of we have a sort of broad brush of religions in Nigeria, apart from the two, imposed on us, Christianity and Islam. Also, other people believe in their own thing. So, as a secular country, you can't just come out and say someone has committed the crime, ridiculous, the crime of blasphemy. What is that? I mean, it's unfortunate. It's sad. They shouldn't have taken the guy. But for those, I would those the humanists in Nigeria, I think I would just give them kudos for being able to, because it's a very, very frustrating and stultifying society there. To be free, to think freely, to say whatever you want to say about that foreign people called Jesus or Muhammad. You can't, you understand? So to come out and proclaim that you are a humanist in Nigeria, I think it's brave. If I were there, of course, I would come out and do that easily. I wouldn't be scared of anyone. But those that are there, that are really, I think, bravo to them.
Okay. So indirectly, we are saying that the arrest of Bala Mubarak is an indication, which is both of you agree, that there's still something to be done in order to guarantee religion of religion of religion or religion of discrimination on the ground of religion, most especially in northern Nigeria. And for us, we think it's wrong for the Nigerian government to continue to hold Mubarak Bala on the basis of blasphemy. We are not, it's a secular country. And
it is.
on the basis of that secularism, which guarantees the right of everybody, we should try as much as possible not to give our country a bad name. So we are using this opportunity to call on the Inspector General of Police, the Governor of Kano, and the Commissioner of Police in Kano State and northern state to please find a way to release Bala Mubarak. It's really very important that we do you have a specific message, Dele? Do you also want to drop message to the IG? Then I go back to Adebowale. Any message to the IG and to everybody? We could get this out to them. Well, this is one way to let our voice.
Yeah, I think the humanists in Nigeria too should have a voice and write strong letter to the Inspector General of Police and telling them that they are trying to go against the Nigerian Constitution and that there's freedom of expression and that he should be released unconditionally.
Thank you. Adebowale, you also have a message?
I will have to go back to my initial, observation, submission that, well, Nigeria is a secular country. It is not a place, although I don't want to stick it in their faces, in their eyes and say, oh, okay, this is illegal, because that will make whoever, I don't even know who authorized this sort of, where did it come? Was it the federal government or the state? Which state?
It's Kano.
Okay, well, so just to let them know that this thing is illegal, because there's no other, I can't, sort of trying to appease them or trying to say something that will, no. I hope this man's life is safe wherever he is now. No, nothing should happen to him, but just let him go. We should let him go. They should just let him go, because if we really want to join to be part of the 21st century, global world, society, amity, then we should allow this man to go, free him, and that's it.
I agree with you. Okay, the Dele will be closing in about a few minutes. But before we go, now you asked a question. You said, it's not a question. Your submission is that humanists in Nigeria should come together. You've been a humanist for 55 years. The first man, when I wrote something on the history of humanism in Nigeria, Wale Etu, in 1944, Ogoshuku, 1951, they were at the World Humanist Congress. It means that this dates back to as much as over 60, 70 years. What do you think is the problem with organized humanism in Nigeria? If this, what you call faithlessness, the lifestyles is so endearing and has so much hope, like you and Adebowale have outlined, why is it difficult after 55 years that you have been here? Why is it difficult to have organized humanist movement in Nigeria? Remember when Taisholari decided to attempted to do something good with that through Mayflower. And I remember I was part of the people that buried him because he wanted to be cremated, but they could not do that. Why do you think it's still difficult till now to have organized humanism in Nigeria?
All right. Number one, I think the way we are being brought up, most of us were brought up with Cain. The society is sort of restrictive, and it doesn't allow you to expand, to think of alternatives, to question things. If you're an elderly person talks to you, you just have to swallow it. You should not question. The Yorubas say. So that has been part of our culture. That's number one. Number two, all the educational systems, we had, the Western education, came through the missionaries. So it was enshrined that I could remember when I was in primary school, the first thing we do is to pray. We line up, we pray, we sing, then we march to the classroom. Then when we get to the classroom, the first subject is BK. It's written there permanently, BK. You know, that's the first thing you do. So all these things has gone into our subconscious. So we don't question. Then again, the other one is awareness, to create awareness. To do that, you need a lot of money, funds. The Christian religion depends on all these tithes, all these offerings, and so on. So
Dele, the Nigerian network is playing out.
Yeah.
Dele, okay, Adebowale, maybe we should
Yeah.
come back to you now. Why do you think it's difficult to have organized humanist movements in Nigeria?
You see, we have to be, I think I have to be a bit, I mean, you are a professor of sociology, and I think we have to be essentialist about this. Essentialism, in the sense that, you know, I, you know, I can't really say why it is so, but we are very, very. I mean, when I say religious, I'm not saying that we follow the ethos or the ethics or whatever of religion in that sense, but religion per se is very, very important to the African man in general. I wouldn't say even Nigerian man, to the African man in general. That's why some people are even describe us as, in the way they say Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, Homo religioso. That is the, yeah, the African person, the Nigerian person. Oh, because we see religion as the be all and end all. It is the beginning, it is kind of everything, omnipresent, whatever in our lives. So to even begin to talk about where we can start to sort of moderate and make humanism workable, operable in Nigeria, it's going to be, Herculean task. It's difficult. For me, it's so formidable that I don't even know whether that is possible for now. I'll be hopeful, though, in a philosophical sense, I'm a cynic, not in a bad way, but I, I tend to see things with a lot of clarity, the sort of clarity some people try to kind of dodge or not be straight about. I will come and I will say straight. I can't see the way out yet. You said something about people were writing about humanism in Nigeria in the 50s. Yeah, but even at that time, it was sort of a side issue. It's something that was on the side. Because I remember I read Awolowo's autobiography, Awo, and some of his books. Something that struck me as a young person, I think I was my early 20s or thereabouts because my uncle, had a vast library in our hometown before on this day. I just, something struck me. I even spoke to my uncle and I said, look, why is this man just saying God, God in every page and Jesus? You understand? Awolowo, Obafemi Awolowo. The references, the central reference in his books at the time, the books written, the My March to Freedom, in 1948, through the autobiography, a couple of years later, and so on. There was in one I wrote he mentioned Jesus Christ 50 times. I said, what? So all those things. It's a kind of osmosis. This thing comes in slowly. We take it up slowly into our subconscious, into our unconscious. So much so that today, the very thought of somebody not believing in either Jesus or whatever, is to a lot of Nigerians is counterintuitive. It is impossible. It is a state of non-being. You understand? It is you are a non-person. You understand? So people will ask. People used to ask, "Oh, then if you don't believe in Jesus, what do you believe in then?" How do you have to have a belief in something supreme or something unseeable and unseen? Oh, they say yes. I say, but why? What about believing in art, in the arts? Not as a religion, not as something you pray to. If you enjoy sort of, you have kind of attachment and enjoyment in reading even novels, ordinary novels. You understand? So, but coming back to where we're going with humanism in Nigeria, it can be. To be honest, I think I will have to pass on that because I can't see a way. To be honest, it's so difficult. I think you made a point about probably in the future, this thing should be introduced from not even from, let's say from nursery, kindergarten, early preschool. You understand? Begin to. But who is going to do that? You know, because the parents themselves, like I said, this meme of religiosity and false piety. I don't want to say piety because if I say piety, you think they really believe in the people are pious in that sense in Nigeria. They are not pious. It's false piety. You understand? You know. So so that thing is there. It's a kind of it's the badge of honor. Yeah.
Well, it's the badge, of course. Dele is back after the technical failure. Dele Agbeyo. You're welcome back, Dele Agbeyo. On mute, let's talk. You are trying to give some grant for the promotion of organized humanism in Nigeria. And for Adebowale, he said we should pass. I mean, he would rather pass it because he does not have any suggestion on that. So you were trying to give the point. You've given 2 points. Can you continue with the point, please? Unmute. You need to unmute, sir. Your mic is muted. Dele Agbeyo. You have to unmute, sir. Your mic is muted. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. What I'm saying is that the humanists itself have to find a way of making funds available to itself. We cannot depend on people who are given that when they go to heaven, they will reap what they sowed. So there should be a way of generating funds in a way. Maybe certain projects, maybe fundraising activities and so on. You know, this is the only way we can use it to expand, to promote and to propagate the ideals of humanism. But as I've said, luckily in schools now, evolution is part of the biological class. So we only need to emphasize on that, to use it as a launching pad that, look, what you are taught in the school is the real thing. This is what is happening. This is how the rest of the world is going. You know, so subtle. That way, you'll be able to reach a larger community. But as I've said, the other people on the other side, they have the advantage in that they can use religion to make money. They can say, if you don't give your tithe, God will ask you on the last day, go to hellfire. You know, so, and religion is based on fear. You put fear in people, make them look stupid, and then exploit them. But you cannot do that in humanism. That's but I know either we like it or not, religion will die a natural death, you know, because science will take control, and internet and globalization and DSTV will allow people now to see the other side. So they start questioning what is happening. Like this coronavirus pandemic, people are now wondering why the pastors who are doing miracles are not able to do miracle this time around.
Even if you go to church with COVID-19 and you tell the pastor, Pastor, please do me miracle, you will run out of court, out of the church.
So those things, people will now start questioning the status quo. Is it real? Is it true? You know. But as I've said, the another disadvantage is that our curriculum, our educational system, you know, not how to do it or how to face, we're going to have a lot of problems.
I can imagine, not just our curriculum, even some of the forms we feel. You have Christian religion, you have Christian, Islam, and then there's no other profession. They just say others. Even the traditional African religion, it's not provided. It's just say others. So each of the times I take order, I realize that somebody will take Christian for me. I mean,
and when you go to court, they ask you to either carry the Bible or the Quran to swear.
But you can affirm too.
And you have gone around it. I'll tell them I will do affirmation.
Yes, they allow that now in court to do affirmation. But it's funny when you claim you fill the form, you didn't put Christian, you didn't put Islam, and then somebody just decided to fill for you because they say like your own name, your name is Danladi. They will just put Islam for you. It's a wonderful country. It's a wonderful country. Yeah. Before I go to Adebowale and then Agbeyo for the last time for us to close, I want to thank our viewers at home, our listeners on Zoom. On the 16th of July, 2020, that's on Thursday, the Department of Sociology at Adebowale University will be hosting another webinar to discuss democracy and good governance in Nigeria, re-examining the dream, the reality, and the unfulfilled. And I will be hosting Professor Adebowale from Northwest University in Mafingi, South Africa, Professor Olufemi Olokeshusi of the Department of Tourism and Event Management at Adebowale University, Professor Francis Ofo of the Department of Philosophy, University of Ibadan, Professor Ebenezer Yebisi, a professor of law at Adebowale University. I will be hosting also Mr. Femi Aborisade, the same day, the popular civil rights activist. Dr. Fetude Oseni of Lisiti University will join us. Dr. Ellen Uga of Elisade University will join us. And also the last but not the least is Dr. Idowu Johnson of Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan. So on 16th of July, I hope you are going to join us live also as we look at democracy and good governance in Nigeria, re-examining the dream, the reality, and the unfulfilled. Don't forget, it's 21 years since we started this civil rule that some people don't believe is democracy at all. You know, it's been a wonderful experience. If we have not started this journey, a lot of us might be thinking that Nigeria will have become America and Europe of our dream. But it's been 20 years, and we know it has been soldier go, soldier come. So please don't forget to join us on Thursday as we look at our democracy and good governance. And like I said, we have Professor Adebowale, Professor Femi Olokeshusi, Professor Ebenezer Yebisi, Professor Francis Ofo, Mr. Femi Aborisade, Dr. Tunde Oseni, Dr. Ellen Uga, and Dr. Idowu Johnson. We still have our two guests in the house, our panelists, Mr. Danladi Agbeyo and Adebowale Oriku. Your parting shot now. This is going to be our last comments. where do you see humanism in Nigeria in the next 5 years? Let's say 5 to
Is it?
10 years. I mean, we have so many prosperity preachers, and there's so many people battling with a lot of problems. In fact, I tell people a lot of things we disturb God for. Actually, we should not disturb God. We disturb God for light, we disturb God for work, we disturb God for, for pregnancy. People disturb God for a lot of things. I mean, if we don't have so much poverty, we don't have so much want around, how much of these people, how many of these people will remain Muslim, Christians? Because a lot of these things that they do not enjoy now, they are looking, just unlike Adebowale that has been to Luxembourg and I've seen heaven. Or my first time in Norway, sometimes in 2001, when I discovered that there's a place called Hell. There's a place called Hell. It's a town in Norway. And I see this, there's no need, there's everything you can ever imagine in hell. You know, so if this is hell, then I better stay in that hell and not come to the shit hole called Nigeria. But then, so the last shot, where do you see religiosity and humanism? Can they coexist? Can humanism grow more than this in Nigeria in the next 10 years? Dele?
Well, I don't see much improvement. Well, unless there's a miracle, but I don't believe in it. Why I said it is even in our universities, which is supposed to be very secular, even federal-owned university, in a secular time is Obafemi Awolowo University. If you go there any day, you will think you are in a seminary. You see students who are GOs riding cars. There's one of them that had 5 girls always cooking for them, free of charge. You know, and lecturers who are DOs, students are DOs, and even during lectures, you'll be hearing people singing and drumming for revivers. So I have to ask one of the lecturers that this is a lecture theater. If they want to do it, let them go outside the lecture theater and do revival. But they are still doing it today. Also in Kano, Bayero University, I was there. Anytime it's time for prayers, you know, 5 times a day, all of them will stop. Nobody will do anything. They will go and pray. And anywhere the lecturer gets to, he just has to stop. And these are federal institutions. So I believe that we are not even practicing that secularism, the separation of religion and state. You know, there's no reason why there should be prayers in schools. Even in America, it's not allowed. And there's no reason why you should teach them religion, I mean, either Christian or Islam. Let them do it in their own homes, not in those federal institutions or public institutions. So well, as I've said, the social media has helped in that it allows people to hear the other side. Maybe that will expand the knowledge. Maybe it will allow people to see the other side, to know that there are alternatives, that it's not only Islam and Christianity that exists, that there are people who don't believe in it and they live normal life. And they are kind, they are good, they are, you know, doing all the good things people are doing without God, without religion. Until that happens, as I've said, awareness is very important. Luckily, the social media is helping, and what you are doing now is also going to help. You know, that's how the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first steps. We've started taking the steps.
Thank you. Thank you. Adebowale, before you give us parting shots, there's a question from one of our viewers, and it's asking, can people be good without religion? Can people be good without God? Please answer that, and then the other question.
You see, this is the thing. Yeah, I was asked probably about was not someone asked me here, not in Nigeria, well, 20 years or thereabouts ago, a Nigerian rather, not, you know, he said, you know, oh, what values or what teachings, ethics would you impart, you know, to your children because you don't believe in God? So how would they? I mean, I found the question ridiculous because, you know, instinctually, humans, we are thinking animals. You understand? We are thinking animals. Without, for instance, even among the so-called people in Amazon forest or whatever, they have their own codes, conduct, everything. They operate by certain rules. So they are usually some of them they do believe in God, some don't. So, but every human is born with a brain. And so what that brain does is that it allows you to sort of separate the good from the bad, and you understand. So you actually don't need religion at all to be good, to be wise, to be bad or whatever. As a matter of fact, religion is a force. Generally speaking, look at history. Look at historical structures of everything in the world today. I'm not talking about African history, European history, but look at the general history of the world. Religion has done more bad, more evil than good. You know, wars all over the place. I mean, the zealots in Europe, the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, and everything. Look at the Islamic terror. A lot of things like that. So religion has not really been a force for good. So by asking that, oh, okay, can you be good without religion? Yeah, of course you can. You can be good. Because what makes you good is your ability to think and to separate what is bad from, which is a very simplistic thing, very simple. And then society, particularly every society should have this sort of social contract between the citizens and those who make laws or rules or whatever. And between citizens, each citizen and one citizen and the other, that okay, I mustn't do anything bad to you. There are laws, there are codes, everything is codified in law, so that you can't do something bad or whatever. Or if I kill someone now, in the UK here, nobody will consult the Bible or whatever before they will know what to do about it. You understand? So, but besides that, I wouldn't go out of my way to commit anything because it's not in me. It's not part of me. It's not because I read the Bible when I was a child. No, that's not what is still guiding me today. But it's the makeup, my constitution, my mental makeup. That's what is, because I know what is right now, what is wrong. And another thing is that, the liberal arts, which is called the humane studies, like philosophy, sociology, psychology, the social sciences, they are very humane, very humane. They teach you, they tell you, they don't even, you learn from reading those things. They guide you, right? That's the word. They guide you to be a better person, to know what is morals or, ethics.
So where do you see humanism in Nigeria? Quickly. Where do you see humanism in the next 5-10 years? Quickly. You have 2 minutes to leave.
No, like I said initially, I'm very, very pessimistic about this. Look, it's so no, it's not going to improve at all. I think it's going to get worse and worse until it gets better. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for their time today. It's been 2 hours of chit chat with 2 great humanists, Danladi, Dele, Agbeyo, who has been humanist for 55 years, and Adebowale, Oriku, who has been for over 40 years, and they have shared their own perspectives on humanism, on Nigeria, on Nigerians, on human rights in Nigeria, And we are all united in asking the Inspector General of Police to please look into the case of Bala Mubarak, because Nigeria is a secular society, and continuing incarceration of Bala Mubarak is totally against his fundamental human rights as a Nigerian, and he has a right to his own belief and his own belief. So we are calling on Inspector General of Police, we are calling on the governor of Kano State and all other northern states to please find a way for them to release Bala Mubarak. We know definitely that it is right, but then we wouldn't want to go through that. We feel that they should find a way to charge him to court also. If they feel that he has done something wrong, they should charge him to court. Let's meet in court. To continue to incarcerate him without charging him to court is not good. It's not good for our image. It's not good for our country. I want to thank every our attendees today and our listeners, and those who are watching us on YouTube and also on Facebook Live. I want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Town and Gown Connect. Town and Gown Connect is a special program specially packaged by the Department of Sociology at Adebowale University at Agbeyo, which I happen to lead for now, coordinate for now. And every fortnight we organize an event. But this is a chit chat I think I want to do, and I think it's important, not just for Bala, but also for all of us who feel that there must be continuous dialogue, discussion about faith, about belief, about science, about development. Because without these fundamental discourses, it is not, our society cannot grow. And I want to join you to please join me on Thursday, 16th of June, 2020 at 12 noon as I engage Professor Dejolu, Professor Femi Olukeshusi, Professor Francis Ofo, Professor JBC, Ebenezer JBC, Dr. Idowu Johnson, Dr. Tunde Oseni, Dr. Elian Uga, and Mr. Femi Aborishade on the question of our democracy. 21 years of democracy. Is this the kind of democracy we all dreamt of in 1997? Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. See you on Thursday. Thank you so much, Dele Agbeyo, for your time. See you on Thursday. Thank you so much, everybody.